Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. So I want to clarify on that article the other day, that 2024 time date, that was just for Europe. Now, Blockchain 663, who we're like this, like we think very much alike from all the comments I've read in interaction with Blockchain 663. Blockchain said in the comment section last video, me and Alpha know 2023 is going to be the explosion. I believe that 100%. As long as if we get a positive outcome to this SEC case, I'm expecting everything to explode. There's no reason why it should not. So then that should happen this year, sometime, whenever the judge chooses. OK, we're dealing with different timelines here for different regions. So I have to think in a multidimensional way. 2024, that MiCA legislation is only for Europe. Different places are going to take off at different times. This is why it's important to watch those different things so you know when that money can come in. You have to make that decision for yourself, right? So I may not be able to elaborate on everything, but there's different timelines. So we're looking at the US timeline, Europe timeline. Then you have the mechanisms of the BRICS nation. If they're working on a different timeline, which seems like they're congealing all together, we have to keep that in mind. I have to keep that in mind. I'm looking at the fall of the banking system. That alters the timeline greatly. Watch the banks, watch the US dollar, watch commercial real estate, watch the banks that typically give loans to commercial real estate that will be greatly affected by the different happenings there. Once that market starts to take a big hit, watch the banks that are greatly affected by, bank runs, or what they're calling this confidence crisis. Now you have all these little cute terms. Watch those banks. Those banks and the fall of them will chase those are typically smaller banks, will chase them into the bank coins. Oops, I almost knocked my light over. That type of activity will chase the smaller banks into DLT because they know that that's where a lot of capital is going to come from for them to save themselves, to revive themselves, especially with tokenization of everything and access to different corridors and markets they never had access to before. And they're going to need that because the big banks are looking at the opportunity to get even bigger and they're stepping on the toes of the small banks. So I have to keep all of these things in mind, all of them. There's a very complicated dynamic that we're dealing with here with a multitude of variables, right? So then also, we have to keep up with monetary policy, the different minds that are beginning to make their power felt in moving regulations and possible regulations, right? You have to know your enemy, know thyself. That's first thing, know yourself, but also know your enemy and where they're heading. You see, because that's how we were able to pinpoint that the banks were going to run to us in the first place. Because back then they weren't really messing with all the different bank coins. Remember, we had so many bank coins just really getting solidly into the banks at the time where I was just coming in, right? Ripple, always been there. But then we had the advent of quant signing major deals. We had Stellar at that time. You remember all these videos I had with Stellar at the time. They were bringing in all of these different banks through IBM, different iterations of his stronghold, Velo, EveryNet, LightNet, on and on and on. I mean, it just goes on with them. Then you had XDC. They hadn't really gotten in deep with the banks yet. Then they got, oh my word, they got deep with the banks. Look at the governing council they're on, and then look at the list of banks that's on that governing council. Or whatever that's titled. It's easy to find. And my word, then they got in deep. Then they became legit bank coin. So, we have to watch all of, monitor all of these different happenings that are going on. Now, let me get into these articles here. I just wanted to clarify those things. And we're dealing with different timelines. Let's jump into these articles here because I have a good amount. I'm going to try to get through them for you. Make sure you use the chapters. You want to jump around. All right. So now this article here is from newsbtc.com. We got some powerful news today. It's titled Coinbase and Ripple CLOs meet. Will XRP listing follow? You want me to be completely honest? I do not care if they relist our XRP right now. There's bigger fish to fry. There's something bigger on the line. What we're looking at right now is that Coinbase has the backing of BlackRock. I think that's why they're so confident to fight now. They weren't confident before to fight, but now they're confident. And don't get me wrong, because Gary Gensler is backed by Vanguard. He has Vanguard connections. Vanguard and BlackRock, they are two of the most, if not the two most powerful entities on earth right now, if you're talking about capital and power and influence. So Ripple associating with Coinbase, may tap into a little bit of that BlackRock favoritism. They may get on the map a little bit with BlackRock. That's strategically very good. Just like it's strategically very sound for Ripple to be in bed with all of these different banks because we want to take their money. It's not about trusting the banks. It's about taking their money. And then once we have the money, you do what you want with that capital. If we are able to actuate on what XRP can actually do, or XLM or Algorand, etc. Right? So now let's scroll down here. So that's why I think it's really key here is that association with BlackRock, whether I don't know, is BlackRock dealing directly with Coinbase? I think that they are, right? Circle, that whole dynamic. There is a BlackRock, Circle, Coinbase, Stellar, XRP connection building here. Pay attention to that. We're going to revisit that at a later time. Now, this is from newsbtc.com, and let's read this little tidbit here. It says, a new tweet by Coinbase Chief Legal Officer Paul Grewal has sparked interest and speculations in the crypto community. The CLO expressed his appreciation to Ripple's General Counsel Stuart Alderati for their meeting, stating they needed to meet more often. Listen, I think at this point, whoever can set good precedents against the SEC, they know legally they both benefit from each other. So why not fight together? Why not help each other? If Coinbase can set a good legal precedent, Ripple can use it. If Ripple sets a good legal precedent, Coinbase can use it. They realize now they've been forced into a corner together. They know they can all it's more beneficial to work together than separately to fight this beast known as the SEC. All right. So that's why I think that's what's going on here. It's not necessarily about relisting XRP. Keep in mind, XRP is not for retail. We're privileged to actually have it. That's it. And I think they're going to squeeze people out. Just my humble opinion. I could be wrong. But I think there's a lot more to it than just, SEC. And no, listen, XRP was never meant for retail. But listen, it's a banker's coin, literally made for interbank payments. They can scrape up the money, and I think they will scrape up a little bit of money from person-to-person transactions, things like that, and B2P, P2B. But no, they're made for B2B. I'm talking about big money. XRP is a big money coin. But let's go here. It says, in response, Stuart Alderati thanked him for chatting with their legal team. After the tweet, two top lawyers in the community supported the strategic meeting, and some others called on Coinbase to relist XRP on its marketplace. I mean, does it matter at this point, really? I mean, I think everybody who wants XRP and got deep into XRP has XRP, knows where to get it. That's number one. Number two, and it's just my opinion. You don't have to agree, and let me know in the comment section if you disagree. I can respect your opinion, no problem. I think also, does it really? Is that really what you want to move XRP's price? I'm waiting on the banks. All that's going to do is open more volatility for it's good for day traders, swing traders. It's good for anybody who wants, large groups of retail to be able to come in and just play with XRP a little bit more easily. It will make it easier for them to play. But that's small price actions. Just personally, I'm not here for those small price. I'm not. I can go and access those small price actions like swing traders and day traders in the stock market and meme coins, anything if I wanted to, and other crypto projects that are legit, but they're not going to have these big explosions like what XRP stands to do. Not at all. And we can play in those. Here with the bank coins, I'm here for that big money. And I'm not going to play with it at all. So I'm waiting on those banks to step in and say, listen, it's time to flip the switch, so to speak. And then boom, we all see what's coming. We made a lot of good calls here, not just myself, many researchers that are on this channel in the comment section, they're subscribers. These people you look at their comments. They make some powerful comments. We all saw what was coming, and now it's coming to fruition. We call even the fall of the banks. Remember in the beginning of the channel, when we were calling for the fall of the banks and everybody told us, hey, no, they can't fall. The banking system isn't going anywhere. Crypto isn't better than them. Well, the bank coin cryptos, that's all I speak for. And they pretty much were saying in the comment section, I remember it. The banks were bulletproof. And look at what's happening today. So, with a little bit of foresight and a great deal of research, you can see what is coming as cause and effect. So now let's continue on here. So Deaton is the attorney representing 1,000. We know that. They reiterate things a lot. I think that they don't realize they're preaching to the choir here. It says crypto users call for XRP relisting. If it's relisted, it will be good, but I'm not moved here or there by it. It doesn't mean anything to me. Other responses following the recent tweet were calls for Coinbase to relist XRP. A Twitter user going by John Mann, who responded, asked Coinbase to relist XRP, stating that the meeting is the tag team the Ripple community has been waiting to see. I'm not waiting on it. Just personally, as an individual, I wasn't waiting on it. Listen, we've come this far, and sure, I believe Coinbase should have fought in the beginning with us, joined us in the beginning. We're almost to the end of our fight. We're almost to the end of it. And then they can implement all these systems, get the XRP flowing, and then we'll see what happens from there. I think a boom, boom, and a bang, bang is going to happen. Now, let's move on to another article here. Oh, and I closed the article. My word. Well, we're going to move on to another article. My word. So this article here is titled Coinbase versus SEC. Court mandates timely response on regulatory clarity. It says response on regulatory clarity. Okay, let's scroll down here. My apologies. It says in a recent development, the Third Circuit Court ordered the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to respond to Coinbase's formal rulemaking petition on digital asset regulation within 10 days. According to Chief Legal Officer Paul Grewal, the order comes as a part of an ongoing legal dispute between the cryptocurrency exchange and the SEC over the regulation of digital assets. This is what I'm talking about. This is going to be interesting to see if there is a precedent set where they have to respond in this particular time frame and what information they actually put out there. Coinbase, one of the largest that we know, says the Third Circuit's ruling indicates that court is attentive to Coinbase's concerns and is willing to take action to ensure that the SEC provides clarity on its policies regarding digital assets. The SEC now has 10 days to formally address Coinbase's concerns over the unclear state of the rules governing digital assets. Following the SEC's response, Coinbase will have an opportunity to respond within 7 days of the filing date. Meanwhile, amid the regulatory pressure, Coinbase announces plans to discontinue its borrow program. Well, listen, it's not dissimilar to what a lot of exchanges have done to negate certain injurious actions that the SEC could take by negating certain things. So that doesn't surprise me. Let's move on here. So this article here is from zcrypto.com and it's titled, What a Ripple SEC Possible Settlement Could Mean for XRP as Game-Changing Ruling Nears. Let's read this little tidbit here and see what's going on. It says a fresh rumor is circulating that Ripple and the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission are arranging an undisclosed meeting on May 8th. I've heard about this, I've heard both sides. Some believe that this will take place. Some believe that it's not taking place. I think one of the lawyers said that this is just a rumor, but who knows? I don't think anyone knows the actual truth. There's no one from the inner circle exactly giving information about this from what I've seen and what I've gathered so far. It says the claim has caused speculation that the discussion could be about a settlement in the duo's longstanding case. A Twitter account, which going by that mode of thinking, I could see that and see that being beneficial for the SEC because they want to move on to other cases that, in other companies that they feel they could defeat easily. And they really want to wrap up a great deal of victories and establish their dominance. And they just can't do that with Ripple right now. I don't think that they're going to win. I think they're going to lose badly. And that's going to set a precedent. And that will tip the dominoes for them to lose a heap of cases. OK, but let's continue on here. It says a Twitter account dubbed Blockchain Daily posted about the rumor, citing unconfirmed sources. Quote, just in, reportedly Ripple and the SEC to hold an undisclosed meeting on May the 8th. Unconfirmed source. Yeah, so they clarified it's unconfirmed. So, you don't know. It could happen. It might not happen. Who knows? Nonetheless, people have to wait anyway. Personally, I'm practicing patience. And, listen, I've been more patient with other things that I've held longer than XRP, XLM, Algorand. Those are my three originals. So that's what I put out there. So this is nothing. That's just my opinion. This is nothing. This wait here is nothing, especially with how rapidly things are progressing. But let's continue on. It says XRP community attorney John Deaton quickly dismissed the rumor as unlikely. Unlikely. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. He just said it's unlikely. All right. Saying that the commission had no reason to go for a settlement before the summary judgment was out. Well, as you heard what I just said, I think I disagree. It would get Ripple out of the way so they can focus on all the companies they believe that they can defeat. And there are a lot they're waiting to go after. But they're so tied up in this Ripple case. It's causing things to be quite problematic. I think they want to establish a precedent, if they could, with someone else, not Ripple, because they're not going to defeat Ripple, but they want to set a precedent with someone else. That way they can use a victory over another company to just go on a rampage. There's many other companies that they're going to try to do battle with. We all know this. So I disagree on that, just that one point, right? But I can respect that standpoint, sure. It says, quote, "This is not how a settlement happens. First, I believe the only time a settlement occurs in this case is after a ruling by Judge Torres. That happens if Ripple wins, so Gensler can save face and get a political win via settlement." All right, I understand that. It says, "Sorry, it's not going to happen. According to Deaton, such a step could only happen if the okay. Well, then he takes this more powerful stance here. I would like I said, once again, I would disagree on that. Deaton also argued that due to market manipulation and insider trading regulations, the commission could not set a meeting, leak information about it, and influence the market. I disagree once again. There's leakers all over the government right now. Has anyone been keeping up with the news? I mean, there's been leakers leaking things that are very eye-opening. I'll leave it at that. This is nothing compared to that. There's been whistleblowers and leakers all over the place. But they do a good job of keeping that news from getting around. So no, I think it's definitely possible somebody inside could leak information. It doesn't take a whole lot, right? So now, this article is from the cryptobasic.com and it's titled "Remaining Potential End Dates of SEC versus Ripple Lawsuit." So let's scroll down here, see if they give us some good information. It says, "It is common knowledge that the ongoing lawsuit between the United States Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple is likely to end soon. However, there is still no precise date on when the legal battle will end. Crypto enthusiasts following the lawsuit are left with predictions from top cryptocurrency and legal experts. Many expected the final verdict of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit to come on March 31st, 2023, based on the prediction of pro-crypto lawyer James K. Fallon." They putting him on blast. They want people to know, like, he made this prediction. It didn't happen. Oh, that's hilarious. Maybe they're not. This is just the way I read it. It makes it hilarious. It says, "John Deaton eyes May the 6th, as reported by the Crypto Basic pro lawyer XRP. John E. Deaton speculates that Judge Annalisa Torres will announce her ruling on or before May 6, 2023. Deaton noted that his prediction is based on Judge Torres' previous cases. According to Deaton, Judge Torres had previously granted summary judgment 60 days after her decision on Dahlberg's motion. Given that Judge Torres ruled on Dahlberg's motion on March the 6th, Deaton expects her summary judgment on the SEC versus Ripple case to come on or before May 6, 2023, based on the judge's previous cases. Now here's Ripple CEO prediction. Oh, they're giving you everything. Here, go check out the cryptobasic.com. This is a powerful article. I'm not going to read all of it. You're just going to read this next little tidbit. Ripple CEO prediction. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, also a defendant in the case, has also commented on the possible end of the lawsuit. Speaking to CNBC on January the 18th at the World Economic Forum 2023, held in Davos, Switzerland, Garlinghouse disclosed that he expects the lawsuit to end within the first half of 2023. I remember him saying that. And I think that's where there were a few others that said something similar. It was like around a June or July type of date, first half. From Garlinghouse's prediction, Judge Torres, they give you the date. Here we go. Okay. From Garlinghouse's prediction, Judge Torres is expected to deliver her verdict between now and June the 30th. There goes the date. That's the date I've been talking about when I said that somebody said June. I guess it was Garlinghouse. There was somebody else. There was like a lawyer, I believe, also indicated first half. But don't quote me on that. But you have it here. June the 30th, 2023. All right, listen, I'll take any of them. Any of them. Let's go. I'm ready. Says Ripple says verdict will come before December 31st. All right, this just is a little tidbit, and then we're going to finish off here with this article. Meanwhile, Ripple has also joined other cryptocurrency community members to predict the date the SEC lawsuit will likely end. Isn't Garlinghouse a part of Ripple? I mean, I don't know why this is restarting as though we didn't just talk about Garlinghouse, but let's continue on here. It says, based on Ripple's prediction, The Silicon Valley-based tech believes the summary judgment may come from now until December 31st, 2023. So these are all dates you can add to your calendar. Who knows if anything's going to happen, but they may be potent. Who knows? I'll take any of those. And that's interesting. December 31st, 2023, right before 2024, boom, MICA legislation. Look at that. Things are starting to coincide if it does occur that way. I hope it happens a little bit earlier, but that's not too long to wait. And it's going to be a fun time, in my humble opinion. All of the bank coins will run wild. We win this case. And all of the bank coins are going to run wild in Europe. As soon as that MICA legislation kicks off, 2024 is going to be a fun year. That's what I know as of now. So now let's move on here. All right. Trying to get through as many of these articles. I have probably about 16 articles here, right? About 16. So this article here is from coinedition.com. Listen to this. Bank failures may be appetizer to a larger crisis. Haven't I been saying that? I've been saying that for a long time, and so many people telling me, oh, no, Mick, no crisis. You know, the banks are bulletproof. They're good. It blows my mind. People still believe in them till this day. Don't get me wrong. I want to take their money. I don't trust them or believe in them. I want to take their money. I know that because of their weakness, because of them fumbling the ball, so to speak, that they are looking towards our technologies, our assets that we hold to save them. So yeah, so take their money doesn't mean that we trust them. I trust in their incompetence. I do. I trust in their greed. If you want to say trust in something. All right. So now let's go on here. It says recently experts in the crypto community have been arguing over the potential for a financial crisis and bank failures. I don't know who's arguing about it. I'm not active in the crypto community, so to speak, except for just posting videos. But I'll say this, researchers, we've looked at monetary policy for years. Oh, my mind-blowing hard work we put in. We've looked at transcripts. We followed what they're saying at their meetings, their Davos, right? Their panels. We've read their documents. We looked at historical charts even, right? We posted some of them on the channel here. And they have not been doing well. We look at the bailouts. The fragility, the overprinting of money, the stepping on each other's toes, the war that's going on, this rift that's growing between small banks and the big banks. We've taken a look at all of that for years, and we have determined that because of all of these things, that the legacy financial system is like a house of cards, which is not just us now. If you look at how everyone has been retreating to gold, deposits have been fleeing a multitude of banks. They're not just going to the big banks. A lot of capital is getting locked up in gold, little by little. Gold, silver, and there's another one. I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm going to save that one for a members only video, but something else looks like it might go boom. It might, but anyway, but they're retreating to these particular things, right? Well, so that's what we're going by. So a financial crisis has already begun, already. One bank after another collapsing. That's not a financial crisis. And we called it, by the way. Legacy system, give us our respect. So now it says here, it says mainly in the United States, given the U.S. Federal Reserve's actions on interest rates and inflation is beginning in the United States. It's not just going to be just the United States. I don't know why they say things like this. Look, as a researcher, we know that Japan had to make a few large infusions into their financial system to keep it afloat. We know as researchers, this is facts, you can look it up, the UK had to make massive infusions to their financial sector to keep it afloat. What do you mean? All of these systems, the legacy systems, have been propped up. Most of them have been propped up. Not just, but if you're just talking about these extreme collapses, it's just beginning in the US. But all of these systems are a house of cards right now. Let's continue on. It says, according to Snyder, the heavy buying of these, sorry about that, my apologies. It says, given that the futures market for the secured overnight financing rate, SOFR, contract expiring in June 2023 is being heavily bought after hours. According to Snyder, the heavy buying of these contracts after hours indicates a significant chance that the financial situation could escalate to the point where the Fed will have to cut interest rates at its next meeting in June 2023. Good point. On the other hand, the former CTO of Coinbase crypto exchange, Balaji Srinivasan, argued that the recent bank failures may only be appetizer of a much larger crisis that is yet to come. I've been saying that for a long time. Yes, It's a ripple effect. People are looking at the small ripples, not the big one. There is a slow fall happening, but we'll cover that another time. You know where this is going. No bank is absolved. No bank is absolved. They're all in trouble. That's why they're going to retreat to the new financial system. They have been. You think that Bank of America early on, this is years ago, you think Bank of America tested XRP and tested XLM for no reason? They won a contest with XLM. Some of you screenshotted that and you saved that information, which is quite difficult to find now, but you have it. You saw the article. But you think they tested them for no reason? MasterCard, Visa, all deep with XRP Stellar. Hedera also, let me throw Hedera in there because through FIS, they have that contact with Visa as well. Like they're all getting in deep. They know there's a problem coming. This is why they don't mind stepping on the small banks' toes to get a little bit more capital, right? Because deposits have been retreating from the small banks to the big banks. Why? That's because they don't mind extra capital that's going to be, that can create a portion of the liquidity cushion they're going to need for the future. Did you see, we covered the article the other day where the federal government is doing buybacks to create what? More liquidity. There's so many crises coming. It's unbelievable. But the liquidity crisis is at the crux of everything. They wouldn't be doing buybacks in order to create more liquidity if they had sufficient liquidity. Now, just pair the lack of liquidity with all the dollar dumping that's going on in the world with the BRICS nations. Oh, my word. Can you see what's coming? Let's read the rest of this here. Let's see what they're talking about. Let's see what they say. It says here, furthermore, Srinivasan criticized Jerome Powell, the current Fed chairman, for talking about soft landings. Yeah, there's not going to be a soft landing. This is a soft landing. Listen, Jerome Powell at this point, no disrespect. No disrespect. Look, I know. No disrespect. But it's quite delusional at this point. All right. So now let's move on here because we have some mass adoption news. Of course, regulatory clarity is rolling out around the world. We got to stay up to date on that. Now, this is from newsbtc.com and it's titled, Nigeria's Federal Executive Council approves blockchain policy. Look how fast the world is racing towards mass adoption, towards regulatory clarity. We're going to run wild. But let's read this little tidbit here. It says Nigerian government has just approved a blockchain policy that will facilitate the development of a regulatory framework for the technology. The approval occurred in a May 3rd Federal Executive Council meeting. Notably, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim, had presented a memo about regulatory framework earlier. While announcing the approval, the FMCDE cited a PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC report predicting the increasing blockchain adoption. They're just telling everybody at this point. You see, we're in the driver's seat right now. It's time to bask in a little bit of glory. It says blockchain adoption and how it will boost. I don't know why I said it like that, boost. How it will boost the global gross domestic product by 2030. Everyone's saying the same thing. I'm not missing out on this money boat. Not going to happen. Nobody breaking me, shaking me, not going to happen. Solid to the end. Spartan to the end. No surrender, no retreat. Boom. That's how I'm doing it. It says it noticed that the global GDP could gain an additional, we keep saying trillions, additional $1.76 trillion from various industries, representing about 1.4% of the world's GDP. More trillions. They keep telling you how many big institutions and countries have to tell the people that all of these technologies, which the last one standing will be the bank coins. We're in with all the governments. We're in with all the different banks. They're going to hand us that money. That money's going to float through us. What's it going to do to the price of those assets? You tell me. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Make up your own decision. I only represent myself. But oh my word, I'm ready. I'm not going anywhere. I'm ready to play. So now let's move on to this next article here. We're making some good time, I think. So then this article here is on beincrypto.com and it's titled, Where is Japan headed on digital currency? Well, we all know that, but let's read this little tidbit here and just humor them a little bit. It says Japan's pending launch of a digital yen is essential in the global race toward adoption of CBDCs. The move could have several benefits for the country, including reduced cash usage, greater financial inclusion, and a boost to the economy. However, several challenges are associated with launching a digital yen, including the impact on the banking sector and privacy concerns. Other countries will closely watch the success of the pilot program. Now, so Japan, we all know, it has been said by very powerful entities, mainly, most notably, the head of SBI, that Japan will run on XRP. But let's throw an XLM in there, because one of the investors into EveryNet, which runs on XLM, runs on Stellar, my apologies, owns over 7,000 7-Elevens and other stores in Japan. XLM is in the game. XLM, it's in the game. It's in the game. All right, so let's keep that in there. So we'll wait to see what happens with all of that. As the, I forgot who it was. There was a prominent figure from Korea that let it be known that most powerful entities are, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you can look this up. Many people screenshotted this, saved that article. It's from an article, but that powerful individual said, most powerful entities are waiting on clarity in order to get in and use XRP. That's what they said. So, and I believe that. I've been saying that for a long time, and that just brought a little bit more validity to that thought that they are all waiting on the side. SBI said the same thing, but more recently, that individual from Korea said that as well. So we have two powerful entities saying that. I felt that as well. Nobody wants to step on the U.S.'s toes. The U.S. still has a lot of power, so it's been a game of patience. But yes, I think going by that, I think XRP will run wild in Japan, and that's going to be a fantastic thing, not just for XRP holders and XRPL. It's going to be a fantastic thing for them, right? And they get to benefit from all that innovation that's going to come. So now let's move on here to a little bit of Stellar news here. This is also from beincrypto.com. It's titled, Can Stellar XLM Bounce After Rejection? Let's just read this little tidbit here. It says, even though there are signs of a potential bounce developing, the majority of long and short-term readings suggest that the trend is still bearish for now. And that's until XRP wins its SEC case. Look, unfortunately, these two assets, XLM and XRP, are glued together. You watch the historical charts, and a lot of us were through that last bull run, that beautiful bull run. Muy linda, mi gente, that bull run. And we saw how XLM and XRP move together, sort of like how Bitcoin controls all of the market. XRP sort of, when it rises, XLM goes with it. When it comes down, XLM goes with it. They are hand in hand. So we get a good outcome to that case. Just like XRP is going to explode, XLM, I would think, going by history, that's not a guarantee, will go with it. Will go with it. Do you remember that article that I read where it said, well, if XRP makes it this price, XLM will make it to that price? What was that price? Exactly. They move together. But let's read this little tip here. It says, since the start of the year, and that's not taking into account all the different uses for XLM, and that they're pushing XLM-based wallets harder than ever before. And what do you need to use an XLM-based wallet, a Stellar-based wallet? XLM. It's going to be a beautiful thing. But then again, like I said, I'm a long-term investor. I'm not going anywhere. All right. I'm here for the long haul. And let's read this little tip here. It says, since the start of the year, the value of Stellar has been steadily increasing. In January, there was a notable breakthrough when the price moved above a descending resistance line that had been in place since its all-time high. This kind of breakout from a long-term structure often leads to significant upward movements and indicates the end of a correction. After the XLM price rose to the long-standing resistance level at an average price of 10 cents. However, it failed to break out and instead created a bearish engulfing candlestick during the week of April 17th, 2020, April 17th to the 24th. This type of candlestick is bearish and negates the entire previous period's decrease in the next one, which is confirmed by a close below the previous period's opening price. Like I said, they come out, look, these utility coins, it's all about use. They haven't been allowed to be used yet. So many people say, well, all of these great things are happening, but the price doesn't move. These are not meme coins. These are not meme coins. They don't move because somebody's trying to pump them. It doesn't work that way. They have to be used. And these are serious projects involved with governments. You have Stellar involved with United Nations. You know, listen, When the time is right, I believe Stellar will do its thing. It's going to be used all around the world. They've gotten in deep everywhere. All that XLM flowing in and out, and transaction fees, surge pricing, the different uses of the wallets, and they've ensured. Have you paid attention to that? They've ensured these wallets are going to be used by a ton of people. So, you know, and that's not even taking into account future uses. Like, for example, you saw how IBM was using XLM directly. Why wouldn't somebody else do that? But they're not going to do that before regulatory clarity. They're not. So what's to say someone can't take that formula, which I believe it was open source, right? So everybody can kind of look at it. Why would someone else not, once there's regulatory clarity and there's no penalty for using XLM or any of these bank coins, right? Why would someone not take that and then build on that idea and then use XLM outright again? Then what would that do to that price? So these are things I keep in mind and I'm watching for as time goes along, but we will see, right? I mean, even Coinbase has XLM listed as a commodity, right? So, I mean, that says a lot in itself, but we'll continue on to observe and see where everything goes. So now, this article here is from financemagnates.com and it's titled "The Growing Influence of Blockchain Technology on the Banking Sector." It's only going to grow. But let's read this little tidbit here. It says several industries, including the banking industry. Yes, several industries, the banking industry, the medical industry, the real estate industry. Everybody's going to benefit from us. That's why we continue to talk about trillions and quadrillions. All of these different industries and sectors. Then on top of that, take into account us moving even a modicum of the interbank payments, a modicum of them. Then you had Citibank come out and admit that almost half of the banks that are running CBDCs will be using distributed ledger technologies. Who's that going to be? That's obviously Stellar, XLM, all the bank coins, XDC, you know, Quant, right? They all play their different parts. Now, what is it going to do to that price to have all these trillions possibly floating through those different things? You tell me. Right? So now, let's continue on here. It says several industries, including the banking industry, are being disrupted by blockchain technology. Blockchain technology, which is frequently connected to cryptocurrencies, right, is gaining popularity because it provides a secure and decentralized way to move assets. It creates the absolute best way to move assets and take control of capital, whether you're a big company or a person. There's nothing better than DLTs, distributed ledger technologies. Hashgraph is in there as well. So don't just say blockchain. Hashgraph is in there. Hedera has been in play around the world, making bank connections around the world. So it's distributed ledger technologies, really. So, you know, look, they're going to continue to get in deep. The banks have been admitting that, well, first of all, they're collapsing left and right, and they're going to need different cushions. Liquidity cushion is just one of many. And so now that we're having articles written by finance magnates about the growing influence of blockchain on the banking sector. That's when you know, when all these big websites start writing about this particular thing, that's when you know we're getting closer to mass adoption. Very close. They have to admit it. They have to talk about it. These big websites don't really want to talk about the bank coins, the bank coin technologies. They just want everybody to believe typically that everything is Bitcoin or meme coins or something. It's a foolishness. But now they have to start taking it seriously. And that is a very, very good indicator of where everything is heading. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.